Yeah, my name is Sister Bethany and I'm Canadian. I joined the sisterhood when I had just turned 20 years old, and I had a real desire just to give my whole life to Jesus and to love him, and I knew that would give my life fulfillment and meaning. When I had talked about the possibility of entering the sisterhood, a sister kind of mentioned might be a good idea to consider organ, because they play that here a lot. It would be very useful. And because I admired this sister a lot, I thought I'll do it, even though it was a very foreign instrument to me in a lot of ways. And God opened my eyes to see, through my professor, just new things in that, the beauty of the music. But then I came back to Canaan for a while, believing that he hadn't called me here. At that point in my life, it didn't have a real appeal to me. I thought I could be serving God and doing a lot more things for his kingdom otherwise. And it was a big struggle, but during these few weeks that I was here, God kind of put me through a pressure cooker at that time. And I knew he confronted me with a lot of things, and I knew actually my calling was here. I could not imagine that when I came here what that would mean to live a life of obedience, in that I couldn't always be doing what I wanted to do. I couldn't make my own choices. I would be told where to work. And one of the greatest horrors maybe would have been in an area of work like the kitchen, the guest house. When I came, I was then a part of our so-called music family in Canaan, and a few years later I started to pursue the organ again, and it was great, but bit by bit I was called more and more into work like in the kitchen first, and I enjoyed it, but I always thought that's just not my priority. And then I was called to the guest house. And so the music bit got less and less in a certain way, and these more practical duties got to be more and more, until just the beginning of this year, I was asked if I would take on the responsibility for the kitchen. As it turned out, it was a lot more work than I anticipated. It meant a lot more of my time and my energy, and putting things with music on the back burner in a certain way. There were a few points where I went through what I might call like a Cinderella syndrome. It's really something in community life you easily compare with other sisters and what they get to do and what I have to do. When the going seemed to get tough and I couldn't understand why me, but then I started to discover where I was at, these tasks of serving, and maybe things that weren't so noticed by others. That was where Jesus came in. Like, so to speak, the prince, he didn't have to wait for the ball. He was there cleaning with me. Yeah, and that's where, actually at that point was where I started to learn to sing songs to the Lord in those situations. There was that special experience of knowing that Jesus is there, and he's there with me. He's working with me. He loves to serve himself. That became really, really prominent. I really had to learn through these years how much it's on the Lord's heart that he doesn't want us to be the focus of attention in these things, but to realize how he's the focus of attention. And not only he's the focus of attention, but my sisters around me, the sisters, brothers around me, the people who we're ministering to in worship, they're just as important to the Lord. And that sometimes does mean stepping back, but it never means that he's extinguishing something that I have, but that there can be more of a foundation if at certain points I realized I'm willing to be more in the background. But the background's important too.